out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
Grooving, your body moving, your record making, and the record breaking. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my
God. What's good? You are tuned to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man, Kel. I got my squad with me in effect, as always. I got my brother Vague out of BK. What's going on?
What up, man? Yo, I'm telling y'all, though I better not see nothing. I'm telling you right now.
Let them know, bro.
Nuclear. I don't do that on my podcast, but I got the words and the bars for y'all. So show love, I show love. I mean.
There you go. I got my brother Tone from End of the Dome. What's going on, brother?
What's good, fam? How y'all doing, man?
Man, everything is everything, man. Good to see you. I got my man, Ak. I can't believe it's the first time, Ak, you on 5B, man. We got to get you in here, boy, man. This is my guy. This is one of the people after I left Strictly Hip Hop to Vague. When Vague moved on, he left it with Ak. So this is like the lineage of Strictly Hip Hop right here. Ak, what's going on, good brother?
Man, everything good, man. Everything good. Thank you for having me. You know, it's the first time for everything, so...
No
Here
doubt.
we go, you know?
No doubt. I apologize for not sending the bat signal up earlier. But y'all know me, man. Let's get right into it. Yo, if you rock with Apartment 5B, you know, every month to every 2 months, we like to do a salute show, give artists their flowers and everything. Tonight's show is going to be about who I think is one of the dopest hip-hop crews, a collective, clans and cliques ever, the Boot Camp Clique. You know what I mean? So we're going to be looking at the dopest albums, the dopest songs, who was the dopest MC, you know, your favorite moments, when did you first hear about them, everything like that with the Boot Camp Clique. It was just Buckshot's 50th born day early on this week, and then also this whole situation with him getting jumped in Brooklyn, which was heartbreaking because it's like, damn, man, yo, this is the borough that they put on for so long. So, you know, it's definitely heartbreaking. So just wanted to do a salute show to them. So we're going to jump right into it. Yo, the first thing, and I wanted to say this too, because one of my peoples got at me and they were naming some people, and I said, this is going to be a salute show to the Boot Camp Clique, not to Duck Down Records. You know what I mean? Because it was like, yo, what about Rusty Junks? And what about, and I'm like, we talking about the Boot Camp Clique. Boot Camp Clique, and for somebody watching who may not know, Boot Camp Clique was Black Moon, Smith & Wesson, OGC, Helter Skelter. When they had Duck Down Records, they signed other groups like Sky Zoo, Rusty Junks, different MCs like that. But you know, those are the only people we're talking about, and along with Helter Skelter, of course, Sean Price. You know what I mean? So that's what we're talking about. So I just want to put that out there. Salute show to Boot Camp Clique, not Duck Down Records. Nothing wrong with Duck Down. Love them to death, but it's a salute show to them. So the first joint we're going to jump into is, when is the first time y'all heard about the Boot Camp Clique? And I guess that's really Black Moon, because my answer is, it was 92. It was the summer between my senior year of high school, my freshman year at Morgan. I seen a video for Who Got the Props, and I was just hooked from the door. It was a rap. Seen the book, you know, the knapsacks, you know, the hoodies on and everything. It was just like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, even when Buck says baggy black jeans, knapsack in my beeper, it was like, God damn, that's what I'm wearing right now. Like, yo, these dudes is talking my language or whatever like that. And then it was a little stretch because that was 92, and I don't think I heard from Black Moon again until I'm at Morgan, and it's probably 93, and I heard, you know, How Many MCs on 889. You know, my man Vinny V was playing that joint. I was like, oh, this is nasty. You know what I mean? And it was just like, this is dope. And the thing is like, a lot of times in the 90s, we compare Boot Camp to Wu-Tang, but the difference was Wu-Tang came out as a collective. Boot Camp didn't. It's not like we saw Black Moon and we knew what the Boot Camp Clique was. You know what I mean? It's just, we just knew Black Moon. We didn't know anything else. Tech and Still, of course, are on, you know, into the stage and everything, but we didn't know, like, oh, that's Smith and Wesson. We had no idea. So for people looking back, it was like, I remember being at I Love Morgan Day, and Helter Skelter was on stage and Rock was on stage. And we was like, yo, who this tall nigga with the scar? Like, that shit is ill. Like, so we didn't know. So for me, that was my intro to the Boot Camp Clique. Vague, you're from Brooklyn. Is your story any different? Did they already have a buzz on the streets? Like, with the Roots, we knew about the Roots before anybody knew about the Roots because it was a buzz in Philly on them. So in Brooklyn, was they already a buzz around Black Moon?
I think it was mostly from the Who Got the Props song, but I know for me, the first time I started to see him, like, and I didn't know anything about anything really, was the Who Got the Props video on Video Music Box. Like, Ralph McDaniels played it all the time, so you know, you hearing a sample, the video kind of went with the vibe of it. Because it was kind of, you know, that early 90s hyped up food joint. And, you know, hearing him saying straight from Brooklyn. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know, now I'm thinking about what neighborhoods and what blocks and stuff. But I think they were buzzing similar to Wu-Tang, at least in my neighborhood, off the strength of the video being on Video Music Box like every day. And I went out and got the single as soon as I heard it because I just thought the beat was so dope. I'm mad I didn't bring. I got all of it. I got Smith and Wesson, like the original cassette. I might dip out and just go get them just so we could see him. But yeah, that was my first time.
All right, no doubt. Ak, what about you, bro? When's your first time hearing Black Moon? Or if that is the first time. Some people I saw my young boy, and he was like, nah, I actually got put on to them through Smith and Wesson. So when is the first time you got put onto the clip?
It was the video. It was Who Got the Props. That was like my theme music. I was in high school, and yo, with that energy and what Buckshot was talking about, I was all for it. So it was the video, and like you said, not knowing that, you know, it was a whole team of it was other dudes, you know, that was waiting in the wings to come up behind him. You know what I'm saying? It was that Who Got the Props, and then I think it was the next thing was the Bucktown remix. Like, I heard that on the radio, and that was which was different from what was on the album. You know what I'm saying? The Bucktown remix.
The Bucktown remix? I don't even know about that, John.
The Buck 'em down, Buck 'em
down.
Yeah, my bad, man.
I'm like Smith and Wesson. I ain't never heard the remix.
Yeah, Buck 'em down, Buck 'em down. Yeah, the Buck 'em down remix. The one that's on the album was more aggressive, whereas though the remix was a little more laid back. And so like, it's like, yo, like, damn, that's the same song, but like, yo, he could flip it with a whole different style. And so yeah, man, but the video, Who Got the Props, that was my first exposure.
All right. Tone, what about you, bro?
Yeah, I think it's kind of universal, man, because I mean, you know, you're literally less than a year older than me, kid. We basically the same damn age, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
So that experience is pretty much the same, man. Seeing that video, and I'm gonna be honest, man, like, I had never heard a beat that sound like that. It was a pretty unique beat that the beat miners did, man. And of course, Buck had the energy, man. You know, they getting it in on the video, man. So he had a lot of energy, man. And he kind of reminded me I had that KRS-One energy at the time, man. You know, because during that time, you know, Return to Boom Bap and Out of Here and all that stuff was going on with KRS. So it's just the energy, man. So and it's funny because they end up doing an album together and they end up like really vibing with each other later on, but. So yeah, it was Who Got the Props, man. Of course, you know, we'll get into the songs that followed at the end of the stage, which, you know, a year later that came out, and you know, that was one of the ones, man, that set the underground on the East Coast on fire, man. You know what I'm saying? But Who Got the Props set off a whole movement, because you got to think, if that song doesn't do what it does, we might not be sitting there talking about boot camp right now. You know what I'm saying? So the importance of that song, man, and it was pivotal and monumental, man, when you really think about it now. But that was my first time too, man. It was just something about it, man. I was like, I really like this joint. Can't wait to hear the next joints. And of course, the next few songs start coming out, album come out, and then, you know, here we go, man. But that was it for me. especially being in North Carolina. I'm like, damn, that joint is dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm hype about this show because VCC is my favorite crew in hip hop. Period. But we're gonna talk about your top 5 fave songs. So, what are your top 5 favorite songs from the crew? Starting off with me, I got Bucktown. I remember hearing this. It was like a Thursday night. I'm in Philly. It was like a station in Camden right across the bridge that played hip hop. And I remember hearing that horn and I remember because it was the same radio station first time I heard Troy. So at that time, horns just had me. So when I heard that and then just came in, I walk around town with a pound strap down on my side, no front, just in case I got to smoke something. Like, I'm always teaching these young boys, like, yo, it's something about the way you set your rhyme off. And that was just a perfect way to set the rhyme off. You know what I mean? I loved it because it was like a double entendre, because I always thought he meant I walk around town with a pound strap down on my side, no front, just in case I got to smoke some. I thought he was talking about a pound of weed in case he had to smoke. My man was like, nah, he talking about the gun in case he got to smoke somebody. It was like, I don't know which one it is. You know what I mean? Either way, it was dope. You know what I mean? So that's one of them for me. The next one I got is I Got You Open. Yeah, there it is right there, that Bucktown.
Yeah.
Hold that up again, babe. Hold that up again, man. Yeah, that's that joint right there.
Just looking at the cover, it's just like, damn, who drew that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it was hot.
Yeah, it's a whole different vibe. I got, for number 2, I Got You Open, but the original joint. Because what happened, I felt like the remix was so big that everybody just forgot about the original joint. And I was at this Duck Down joint, like their 20th anniversary out here in DC, and they played the original I Got You Open, and I forgot how hard that shit went. I mean, the bass is literally rattling the whole building. And I was like, yo, the remix made me forget all about this joint. But so I'm going with the original. I'm going with Soundboy Burial, but the video version. The video version is different than the album version. Just by little tweaks here and there, but it's different. You know what I mean? I love that joint. I'm going with LaFleur as Score Skies. You know what I mean? The Fab Five. To this day, we have done shows on Apartment 5B about albums that hip hop owes us. That is an album that hip hop owed us. 1995, we needed a Fab Five OGC Helter Skelter album produced by the Beatminers. Would have been crazy. I'm pissed that we didn't get that. Then the last joint I'm going with for one of my favorite joints is the Wiggy. The first time I heard Helter Skelter's the Wiggy, I was at this rap I was interning for this magazine called Rap Sheets, and it was like literally a hip hop newspaper. And I was interning for them and putting together their conference down there, and they gave out a Duck Down like a promo cassette, and the Wiggy was on there. Bro, I was like, yo, the Beatminers can't lose. Like, this beat is stupid, man. You know what I mean? So those are my top 5. Ak, what about you? What are your top 5 favorite? Don't gotta be the best, but your personal favorite Boot Camp Click members.
Damn. So I guess I gotta switch my order because you already said Bucktown.
No. But talk about what you love about it. You know what I mean?
Definitely Bucktown. That the sample. I mean, and like you said, the way still, the way he kick it off, Bucktown. Damn. But yeah. All right. Now I'm gonna keep it at Bucktown. Also, I already mentioned the Buck 'em Down remix. To the week, what we do, Buck 'em Down, where like
there you go, right? That's it.
You know what I mean? And the thing about like that flow, what was crazy, like I'd already liked that song, and then I heard this freestyle with Method Man, and Method Man was freestyling, and I think he was freestyling over that beat, and then he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna use the buckshot flow," you know what I'm saying? So he was like, "Yo," he was shouting out Buckshot or giving him them props. You know what I mean, for that flow, which I didn't really typically see MCs do, so like it's like, yo, that respect, and it's like props to Method Man for giving Buckshot that respect. Like, yeah, for sure, that is your flow. And then he stopped to make sure he paid homage. So Buck 'em Down remix. Also, yo, Sean Price, the brokest rapper you know, and that's not even like that's only like a minute 40, but it's like, yo, just the way, like you said, Kill, the way he start the verse, it go Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner, Ku Klux Klan, Big Black Burner. It's like, yo, what is this? Like,
He always did that dope, man.
you know what I mean? So, brokest rapper, you know, and yo, I got a slight story about that. So yo, at the time, I was at the station, and I had already seen that the audience had, you know, that was listening to Strictly Hip Hop, they had liked Sean Price. I started like playing Sean Price songs. Like I was playing like Solidify. I think that was like the first Sean Price solo record that I played. And I knew like the audience was liking Sean Price, right? And I think they were anticipating the album, right? So the album drops, you know, Monkey Bars, I'm referring to Monkey Bars. And I remember going to buy it, and I was with my homie, my big homie, Apple. Shouts out to Apple. So yo, we went to the mall. You know what I mean? I ran in the mall. I ran in the mall to go get the CD. He waited in the car, and I was telling him like, Apple, I'm telling you, yo, this dude Sean Price, yo, I'm telling you, yo, the truth, yo, the truth. And he knew yo could rhyme or whatnot from the boot camp, but he was like, all right, what's up with the album, you know? So I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, this is it. So throw the album in, Monkey Bars, throw it in. We driving, we listening. I'm like, yo, this dope, right? And you're like, yeah, it's dope, it's dope. I'm like, yo, what's up? What's wrong? He like, yo, I ain't sure people gonna like this like that though, yo. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why, yo? What you mean? He like, yo, he just talking about being broke, yo. Ain't nobody gonna want to hear that. And I'm like, yo, for real? I'm like, yo, nice though. Like it ain't gonna matter. But he like, yo, like, and this brother, he's older than me, and he was just looking at it from like a, you know, product hustling type of perspective. Like, yo, you know, listeners and people be wanting to live vicariously through who they listening to. And yo just talking about being broke and not having no money. So it's just ironic that like my favorite song is The Brokest Rapper You Know from Sean Price. And I learned later that shouts out to Apple, shouts out to you watching this. I think you was wrong on that. You know what I'm saying? Like he definitely became a star.
That ain't the think he was wrong. He was wrong. It's all good. We all wrong at times, you know, but Sean P got a cult following. So yeah, he definitely
for sure.
You know what, fellas? Because most people aren't rich. Most people aren't hustlers. So you speaking to the common man at some point, that's gonna resonate. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's
and it
that
did.
Price had.
Yeah, for sure. So Sean Price, brokest rapper you know. Yo, this is another joint that might be like I like Smith and Wesson 1-on-1. Like I was a teenager, that joint was upbeat. Like I seen is like, yo, they was like switching their style up a little bit. And like, yo, the way they still both of them still tech. Yo, they just ate that beat.
Is that on the soundtrack?
Yeah, that was on the
Soul in the Hole, right?
Soul in the Hole
soundtrack.
Yeah, man. So the 1-on-1, Smith and Wesson, well, Cocoa Brothers, they was referred to as Cocoa Brothers at that time.
Yeah.
But like, yo, I just seen them like switching it up. It was like aggressive and upbeat. So that's like one of my favorite songs too. And the last one, and this is the rebellious teenager in me, the No Fear, man. OGC, the controversial video, like, yo, man, just being rebellious, rambunctious teenager. I was all for the shenanigans, all for the middle fingers up, all for the all for the nonsense. And they definitely kicked off nonsense with that video. But aside from that, with just the video, just the song and their style, and like it was boot camp, but you could like it was different. Like they had their own, I guess, younger flow or approach to the music. So no fear, man. That's those are my top 5.
All right, no doubt. Tone, what you got for your top 5?
All right, one, man, is I Got You Open remix, man, because that's probably one of my top 10 favorite hip hop songs. You know what I'm saying? Then when the video came out, man, dark, you know what I'm saying, got all the other cats that beat drop, man, and we used to play that joint in the club. I'm throwing parties in college or whatever. We playing that joint, and people was rocking to that joint, even though it's a street banger, but people in the club was still like kind of vibing to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I Got You Open, man. It's probably my favorite boot camp song, one of my favorite hip hop songs.
Oh, you know something about that? Buck says it in there, not too underground to make it stop when you mingle.
Yep.
You know what I mean? My man Rollo, God bless the dead, put me on to that. Like, yeah, that you don't want to make something that's too underground to make it stop when you mingle. So it just, like you said, people love that joint, man. You know what I mean?
Man, no doubt, man. And another one for me is PNC, Partners in Crime by Smith and Wesson, man. That was my go-to track on The Shining, man. I play that shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? So PNC, man, I love that beat, man. The rhyme, man. And these two cats always played off each other so dope anyway, man. They probably one of the most underrated damn duos in rap history, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're not talked about enough, but just the kind of way they play off each other, man. Their voices, their style. And that was just another song that kind of show how dope they were, man. Man, this joint called Violent by Sean P. You know what I'm saying? Like Violence, I think it is, yeah. I don't know if you guys remember that song.
Which one was what album was that off? Was that a mixtape?
On Jesus Price, man, Superstar joint, whatever, man. But anybody listen, put that Sean Price in Violence or whatever. That joint go hard, man. Who Got the Props? Like we said earlier, man. Just another signature song for Black Moon, man. And I like that. Well, first, let me say this. I just talked about this on Facebook the other day. I know it's not a Smith and Wesson song, it's a Mary J. Blige song, but I Love You. But it's one of the best hip hop R&B collabos in the 90s or probably rap history, man. Like I'm in the fraternity in college, I'm throwing parties. DJ, play that I Love You, dog. The women loved it, the heads loved it. Perfect marriage. It's kind of like that Method Man and Mary J. joint. You know what I'm saying? Just a perfect marriage between hip hop and R&B, man. That's just a fantastic song, man. And Smith and Wesson, they set it off that I shine, you shine. It don't matter what club you going to, people in our era, when that come on, everybody sing that, set it off that I shine, you shine. Everybody sing it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a moment in time, man. So that also stands strong on Smith and Wesson album, dog. That beat models, they murked that beat, boy. I love that. You know what I'm saying? So those probably my 5 favorite joints, man. BCC.
All right, Veg, what about you, bro?
All right,
Veg, let me ask you this first. Mm-hmm. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much Brooklyn pride did the boot camp bring to you?
So when did Into the Stage come out? Like
93.
93.
Yeah,
I think there was definitely some pride. I think for me personally, it was more because they dressed like us more than anything. So they looked like Brooklyn at that time, like with the book bags and JanSports and the hats and all of that. I just think like versus what we talked about before with the other show, Audio 2, it was like we didn't have an anthem. So I was like excited when we have it. By the time they come out, there's Brooklyn cats, like, Kane is around and, there's cats that existed. But I like the fact that, like, that's how I was dressing going to school when I saw Buckshot. That's how we all were dressing. So it was kind of dope. And then to see, each group come out and, Smith and Wesson's dope. Hope the Skelter's dope. A funny quick story with Steel, I think it was. Yeah, it was Steel. I think I told this on your show a long time ago, but I played basketball with him, not like in no real shit, you know, like just in a park or whatever across the street from my building. And I remember he came out there because he's older than me. He bust our ass. He was dunking on us, all kinds of crazy shit, right? So when he was in the video, I recognized him. I was like, yo, ain't that the dude? Because I'd never seen him before around our way. I was like, ain't that the dude that was like jumping over us and Michael Jordan and shit in the park? So I thought it was ironic because I thought I was mixing him up with somebody, but it was literally still from fucking Smith and Wesson that, you know, I was smart. I'm like, I'm just trying to get stripped because nigga ain't dunking. You know what I'm saying? But I just thought it was dope, you know, because they were so close to my neighborhood and obviously Biggie's neighborhood. So, yeah.
All right. So what's your top 5, bro?
Real quick, because I wanted to add this, and I also wanted to ask you, I was looking at the Buckle Down remix single, and the B-side is Murder MCs. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, that was on the Digging in the Crates.
Yeah, Digging in the Crates.
Okay, because I was like, it wasn't on the album, but what was it on? Okay.
It was hard.
That shit was crazy. So my top 5 are starting with I Got You Open remix, which I went out and bought that joint. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, this shit crazy.
That was a video cover too.
Kind of blurry.
Yep.
Yo, Veg, turn that to the side so that boys, like for the youth, there were times when the cassette singles would come out, it was just in a cardboard box like that. You know what I mean? Versus the regular case that was coming out. So a lot of the cassette singles would start to come into the cardboard boxes versus the regular joint.
Yep.
And I think the difference was this was like considered a maxi single.
Okay.
Because you're getting like 4 joints on here, you know, the song, the instrumental, then the B-side song, the instrumental, whereas this was just one mix and another mix.
Yep.
Okay.
On here, which is, you know, the original, to your point, Kill, was on here. But yeah, when I heard I Got You Open remix, first I'm mad as hell because I'm like, why is it not on the album? Like,
yeah,
I was bumping the album like crazy. But it was just so different and unexpected at the time for him to just totally switch up his flow and his demeanor, and you know what I'm saying, they got the outfits on, they're in the park, I don't know where these niggas were, fog and shit was everywhere. But you know, I'm getting excited because it's Brooklyn. But nah, it was just dope to see again because they kind of looked like how everybody was dressing,
right?
And you know, I just love that record. Also, this one, Heads Ain't Ready. One of my favorites. When I came to Morgan, this was getting played in the party, and yes, the women were dancing also. The Buckshot remix is my favorite. You know. Now,
is that the one with the James Brown sample?
Yes.
Okay.
But the other one, the Beatminder remix is here.
Right, because there's two, for people watching, there's 2 different versions of Heads Ain't Ready.
Right.
I personally like the one with the Payback sample. Then there's another one, but I like the James Brown joint.
Yeah, that's the one I prefer. That's the one they was playing in the club, the Buckshot joint. But I just loved it because it was like a cypher, but it was hype. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like dudes getting in there, getting busy, like something almost like old school in the way it was. And it was like the first time I really got to hear like Helter Skelter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, these dudes nice too. Like it was just classic.
Man, you got me over here saying it in my head. Like,
yo, right. Yo, nowadays we had it up to here.
Yo, just even they just had dope choruses. Like just Heads Ain't Ready for the click we got. Heads Ain't Ready. You know what I mean? Coming for you, 3, 2, 1. Nice to know. Like, it was for people watching who weren't outside at that time, it was a moment. Like, again, you just had to be there. Like, to when these songs would come out, you hear them on a mixtape, and it's just like, Heads Ain't Ready. It's a good pull, man.
And it was so dope how, you know, we talk about styles all the time and being original, but they were all so different. Yeah. Like when Rock jumped on there, like still lifting, if niggas know how we live in, it's in. I'm like,
I've been like giving.
Right. I'm like, this nigga killing it. Like, even to this day, man, I played that earlier today, and I had to turn that shit way up. So, another joint from me, Soundboy Barrier. Like,
Yeah.
yo, when I heard that, you know, Brooklyn has a heavy Caribbean community, a big, heavy. Some of that's in my family. Don't get excited, y'all. I'm not from there. I'm from Brooklyn. Okay. I used to get asked that all the time in high school. Like, where you from? I'm like, nigga, right here. Like, my grandmother's from, you know, St. Thomas,
Right.
but I'm from, you know, but you know, just to hear the dance hall side of it was like, darn, kids don't understand. They used to play that in the club.
Yeah, they did.
You know what I'm saying?
But hey, this is a testimony because people think niggas didn't go to clubs before the shiny suit era. And
Right.
Niggas been partying since the 60s.
It's forever.
Right.
You thought niggas wasn't dancing the fucking Rebel Without a Pause? Nigga,
Right.
You see the house party, we dancing to anything. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Absolutely.
What else I got? I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it for however many years. LaFleur, it's Sky, whatever. When I first heard that, I was like, damn, they got another one? Like, they got another posse cut? That's crazy. I think that was the first time, because of the video, that I started liking Sean Price. Because he would get on your knees and swallow these, and he had the bag that said,
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Such a dope video. Even the way they didn't do much physically, but they did enough. You know what I'm saying? And it was bright. It wasn't the dark, brooding shit. It was just dope.
Yeah, it was.
Watch them do that. And again, maybe that's what my pride was. Is every time I looked at boot camp, I'm like, these are the Brooklynest niggas I've ever seen in my life. Their hair, their clothes, the way they talking, the way they moving. Yeah, so it was dope. And my fifth favorite is Operation Lockdown.
I had that down as honorable mention. Yes, sir.
Man, when you like, well, okay, Black Moon killed it, Smith and Wesson killed it, and this is your entry to say, yo, let me introduce you to Helter Skelter.
Whew.
That beat, it went down like this. And he telling the story of them, the whole boot camp coming together and forming like Voltron. That shit was crazy.
Shit was hard.
Yeah, man. And then the video. So.
Shouts to E Swift. Shouts, because a lot of people think the Beat Miners did that. But that
Oh,
was
word.
E Swift from the Alcoholics laced them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, E Swift from the Licks did that joint.
He's underrated and dope too.
Very underrated, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, he did that shit. Yeah, Operation. I got that. We got to talk about that more too, man. That's your 5, Veg?
Yeah, that was fine.
All right. So here's the thing. I know for a lot of people, it's the first 4 albums out the boot camp. So what is your favorite album out of the first 4 that dropped? Mine's is easily Smith & Wesson's The Shining. It's just something about this album. I mean, like you said, Veg, like, I mean, everything about them. Like, yo, niggas who used to come to my crib for studio time, I would be like, yo, just go jack the little Army Navy store and just bring me fatigues. That's how niggas pay for studio time for me at Morgan. Like, yo, go steal me an Army jacket. Go steal me some fatigues. Like, that's how niggas pay for studio time at Morgan with me. But I mean, bro, everything about this album, I just loved it. It's the perfect wintertime album. You know what I mean? Like, not to say I can't listen to this in the summertime, but now it's about 50 degrees or lower. This is the perfect time to put this album on because it's like a nighttime album. And the craziest thing about this joint, I was at Little Mike's house digging one day, and I came across the Roy Ayers He's Coming out. And yo, I must have lost my mind. Like, oh shit, that's where they got that joint from. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And then they got the original 45 of what the original album cover looked like before they put the background to it. You know what I mean? So this was like a joint that came out when you cop checked the technique and it got the Home Sweet Home A side and B side. So I mean, just everything on here. Session at the Dog Hilly. I mean, we talk about they posse because they all crazy. Like Session at the Dog Hilly was crazy. I mean, everything on this joint was crazy. If I had to pick a favorite song, oh God, yo, it's crazy hard to pick a favorite song off this One Time Soundboy. No, I can't even. I mean, I guess Bucktown, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, probably Bucktown. If I had to pick a favorite off of here, Bucktown, Slept On, probably Hallucination. I love Hallucination too. So this would be my favorite album out the Boot Camp Click. Veg, what about you? What's your favorite album out of the Boot Camp?
This one right here, man. One that started it all. Into the Stage. It's a cassette I bought back then in 93. No, I do not listen to it now. Why the hell would I do that on cassette? But yo, this cassette I played to death walking to, shout out to Fulton Street Boys and Girls High School every day. Like, it might have been for a good month, walking to school, walking back, in the crib, all of that. And it was just because I think, and it's ironic, it's kind of like poetic justice, but like with this Black Moon album, with Smith & Wesson, with Gangstar, Tribe, right? I think I was like a dormant jazz fan. So all of them samples were like speaking to me spiritually, to be honest, because I was just like, damn, it's something so different. I couldn't describe it back then, but I remember, knowing Who Got the Props was dope, but not hearing anything else on here. And when that Powerful Impact hit, I was like, oh man, oh, that song kind of crazy. And you know what I'm saying? It just went on and on. Like you said, Kill, even if we didn't get the remix to I Got You Open, I was playing that joint like crazy. My favorite song on here is probably How Many MCs? Like, when I heard that, I was like, damn, this is different from the other joints. Like Buckshot. Yo, Buckshot don't get a lot of credit.
Nah. I was going to talk about that. I was going to talk about that because Into the Stage to me, that and Ready to Die to me are the only two albums that I can remember offhand where you could hear the MC style change on the album. Like when you hear Give Me the Loot, that's not the same Big that's doing Unbelievable. You could tell Unbelievable was one of the last songs to make the album, and Give Me the Loot was just raw. You could tell with Buck on Who Got the Props and Powerful Impact and Act Like You Want It, that's Buck. By the time you get to How Many MCs, you're starting to hear the sing, I'm to bring you back, come follow me. You're starting to hear that sing-songy thing, you know what I mean? So we really don't see that too much. Like usually if we get an MC style, we hear it throughout the album, but those are the two MCs that I know offhand that like you listen to one part of the album and you're like, oh, okay, I see that song was the last song y'all did for the album. Because to me, that was a foreshadowing of Buck doing I Got You Open and doing Buck 'Em Down. So like I said, that was like the pre-coming of, the BDI flow or whatever like that.
Right. Yeah, I love that record when I heard it. And, even like, I think people forget about the video. Like, it wasn't nothing crazy, but it still was just dope. He up on the, what do you call it? Like the terrace. Like, we don't call it your balcony now. We call that the terrace in the hood. I don't know why he brought it up there, but
was it Evil D like upside down? Somebody was like upside down or something in the video.
He was leaning on leaning on the turn, like leaning on the wall and coming down on the turntable scratching. Oh, that was the first time a nigga had seen that. It was like, yo, this nigga upside down, my nigga. You know what I mean? But yeah. I mean, the video I used the video for the introduction to 5B. Like when I first saw that video and it's like zooming in and the dude is like, come on into the projects. Like, come on in and see what we doing. It was like, yo, that's crazy. Like you said, Veg, nothing crazy, but that is probably one of my favorite videos. Right. Just because that's the projects. It was like in the elevator with the little mirror there. You know what I mean? Like everything, just the way it was shot was just crazy song, man. Crazy album, man. And to me, when people talk about that lo-fi hip-hop, that's just the beat minor sound. I feel like that's all that is. It's like when niggas like, oh, neo soul, nigga, that's just soul music. Shut the fuck up. Ain't no neo soul. Like, it's just some dirty samples and everything like that. This is lo-fi hip-hop right here that the beat minor brought into place. Tone, what's your favorite album out the BCC, man?
Yeah, man, y'all, you and Veg both held it up just now, man. It's just that Into the Stage for me, because now I love a lot of the albums, man, but I played this one the most. It's dirty and raw for me. It sounds like, to me, it's kind of, you know how dirty Takao was, you know what I'm saying? I know people like, oh, it's not polished like Cuban Links and Liquid Swords. I know, but it's dark and basement, you know, water leaking and shit. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the way the Beat Miners was into the stage, man. But I like some of the sleepers on there. I like that Make Money, make money. You know what I'm saying? I like that Shit's Real. That beat is insane. I like Slave, man. Slave was one of my favorite. I used to play Slave. That shit was crazy, man. Blacksmith and Wesson, man. Powerful Impact, like Vague said. You know, I'm always big on how albums start and how album end, man. That Powerful Impact, Buck just got it in, man. It gave you the energy of the album, and it was dark, and nasty too. You know what I'm saying? So, man, of course, How Many MCs is a staple in New York, East Coast hip hop. We are talking about I Got You Open and all of that stuff, man. It's one of them albums, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if that album doesn't do what it did on the underground, you might not get a lot of other joints that came after that, man. So, yeah, I'm going into the stage, man. That's my joint.
I forgot to show y'all that. You got the props, the original.
Yeah.
Where it was nervous. I was looking at like,
yeah. I remember that.
Crazy. You know, and I don't know for people watching, I don't know if they ever peeped it, but Rosie Perez had a show on HBO back in like the mid 90s, like 93, 94. And it's on YouTube. And if you just put in Rosie Perez Black Moon and check it out, Black Moon performed. I want to say Bernie Mac was like the MC of the show. And it was like, I think their first time performing in New York. You know what I mean? And they performed Who Got the Props. So definitely, if you want to see Black Moon like in the beginning and everything like that, definitely check that out. And I want to say it's on YouTube. I have them.
It probably
I just got to convert them from VHS to like it ain't even DVD no more. I don't even know I'm converting it to an MP4, I guess. But they had these joints called Duck Down Visuals. Did y'all ever peep those? Oh man, I got it. I'm hoping it's on YouTube. Put it in, it might be there. But with Duck Down Visuals I was at 889 and they sent it, and it basically was behind the scenes of boot camp through probably from Into the Stage to maybe Nocturnal. You know what I mean? So they got you know Black Moon and Tech and Still at Beat Street in Brooklyn, like freestyling. It's a whole bunch of behind the scenes, them just chilling. It's real dope. I'm gonna try to find it, and I'm gonna try to. I gotta convert it, but very, very dope stuff to kind of see them in the element. What is your favorite album out of the boot camp clip?
It's Bucktown. I'm sorry, The Shining. The Shining. And Bucktown's my favorite song on The Shining. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, a lot of great music. But when I think back, I think that was between that and Enter the Stage, like I played those albums like the most. And then like, as far as like my vocabulary and how I was talking, and it's like The Shining, like KIM, Keep It Moving, you know, like that just became a part of my lexicon, you know what I mean, from listening to them. So it's The Shining. It's The Shining for sure.
Yeah, man. It's amazing album, bro. But the great thing about this is you can't go wrong with none of them, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't go wrong with none of them. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't know that there's so many albums out. Like Black Moon has had 4 albums: Enter the Stage, Warzone in 99, Total Eclipse in 03, Rise of the Moon in 2019. Smith & Wesson's had The Shining, Rude Awakening, Reloaded, Smith & Wesson album, Monumental with Pete Rock, Born and Raised, which was a reggae album that they had out, and the All that just came out in 2019. Helter Skelter had Nocturnal, Magnum Force and Dirt. OGC had The Storm, The Empire Strikes Back. Sean P had Monkey Bars, Jesus Price Superstar, Mike Tyson, Imperious Rex. The Boot Camp as a crew had For the People. We're going to talk about that album because that's where it started going downhill for me. The Chosen Few, The Last Stand, Casualties of War. So they've had a lot of albums. So we've talked about the dopest albums. What is a slept-on album that somebody may not know about? My pick is Rockness AP. After Price.
That's dope.
Rock solo album from 2017. Again, I always talk about expectation. I went this album with 0 expectations, and I absolutely love this album. You know what I mean? I don't know, somebody who's a diehard rock fan who was expecting the 5 Mile Classic, you may win his album and not like it. I just listened to it like, joint is out. Shit is crazy, man. Shit is real dope. You know what I mean? And I know we love Sean P, but we got to get away from, we can love more than just Sean P. We can still love rock too, you know, because there was a time we loved rock and really didn't love rock. Because I never heard any human being walking the planet Earth before, like you said, before he became Sean Price, it was always rock. Rock got the voice, rock got the star, you know, he got the scar, not the star, got the scar, you know, so, but I feel like that was a very slept on album. So if you want a dope album out of the clique that maybe you haven't heard, that rock this AP. Vague, what about you? What's a slept on album out of all these albums we just named that you would tell somebody to check for?
I kind of had one that was like on the outskirts that initially I thought was more of a joint album, but it was more of a, you know, this rapper produced most of it, I believe, but it also was a side of it. But I'll stay within the color within the lines.
No, you can go out, go wherever you want, bro. Yeah, go.
Okay, Price of Fame, Sean Price and Lil Fame. I swear nobody talks about it. I put that shit on. I'm like, yo, it's everything what you think it would be. It's Sean Price being Sean Price in the way he know how to be. It's Lil Fame doing what he's doing. It's the production being kind of grand and matching Sean Price's, I guess, like his voice and his gravitas when he rhymes. Like, just play the song center stage. Anybody who likes Sean Price, that'll get you right in there. You know what I'm saying? And if the comedy there, and obviously this was released after he passed, but it was something they were working on.
Okay, that was the thing. That's why I didn't tap in, because anytime I hear something after somebody died, I'm like, I hate those taking acapellas, put into a beat and all that. But they were working on this before he passed. Okay,
you know, because a lot of hip hop artists collaborate. They be making like full albums that most of the times will never see the light of day. You know, they might fuck a song off and you know, such featured on this album, but they got an album's worth of songs together. And when I learned that this is something that they were working on, and you know, obviously Fame kind of finished it a little bit, but it's a Sean Price album through and through, if you ask me, because he's the standout. He's more of the MC up front than Lil Fame is on here, but the production just matches everything you like about Furious Rex, Mike Tyson, Jesus Price. But I just like with Rockness AP, like I felt like I was the only one listening to it, which was crazy, because this was like, if you're a fan of what they did, you'll definitely like this. So yeah, Price of Fame.
It's dope. I gotta tap into that. Ak, what about you? What's a slept on album that somebody may not know about from the clique that you think is dope?
I think the Smith & Wesson and Pete Rock, the Monumental joint. Because I slept on it. Shouts out to my people's John King from 3rd Infantry. He brought it to my attention. Like, yo, you ain't listen to that Pete Rock and Smith & Wesson? I'm like, oh, they got something? Yep. And he brought it over to the crib one day. We put it on. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. For me, during that time, that was, for me, like the reemergence of like Pete Rock. I started checking for him again after that. I'm like, okay, so he
right there.
That's it. That right there. Yeah. Like, yo, that's a banger. That's a banger. And I think it's slept on.
Yeah. Good pull. Definitely good pull. The joint on here that I love. Yo, man, I gotta get glasses, man. I gotta stop fucking around. The joint That's Hard with Sean P and Styles P. Yo, that you talk about perfect. Yo, and in the way Styles P, what did that nigga say? Something like something that, don't you know that I'm local, brother? I keep a tech and still like a cocoa brother. My nigga still Smith & Wesson with me. Like, yo. Yeah. Good pull with that. Tone, what you got for another joint, man?
Look, man. Let's stay with Tech and Still, man. I'm going with 2019 joint, The All. You know what I'm saying? And look, for me, sentimental value because obviously my people down here produced it. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good look seeing the Soul Council do that with Knife and Crisis and all them doing a lot of the production on the album, man. But not showing favoritism. I think it's that good. I think that they sound fresh on them. They never missed a beat. And it's a testament to Smith and Wesson. I just named the Monumental. We know how dope the Shining was. I even thought the Awakening was pretty dope. So I mean, they have a nice discography on the low. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as tandems, man. And the All Man had this joint on the call Illusions, man. And the rhyming that they did on Illusions, man. And it's really a conscious joint about life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like if anyone hasn't heard the All Man, put in Illusions, man. Like that's my favorite song on that joint. The All title track is dope. I mean, yeah, production is crazy, man. If you like the Soul Council, if you like Ninth Wonder and Crisis and all them, they kept that sound. You know what I'm saying? And Smith and Wesson has another album coming out, within the next probably 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they still killing it, man. But the All is a dope joint to me, man. Yeah,
that's dope. Now we talked about this a little bit, but I think one of the things that I loved about the Boot Camp Click was they remixes. We've talked about the I Got You Open. We've talked about the Buck 'Em Down. We talk about we haven't talked even about the Recognized remix. You know what I mean? You got the video versions and stuff like that. And the Recognized remix was crazy because I'm like, yo, it's just the Jack of Grover Washington, like just the two of us, But that shit goes so hard, like you can't front on it. You know what I mean? And funny story, it's in the if y'all don't have this joint, I think it's God, I even want to try and grab this book. It's in this joint called Check the Technique by Brian Coleman. But the reason it's produced by Still is because Evil D was like, nah, nigga, I ain't just looping no goddamn Grover Washington, just the two of us. Like Will Smith just runs over that shit, nigga. I can't be the laughing stock of my community. And we were talking about this on my last episode for Philadelphia Steak Life, our cheesesteak show. But I was saying how during those times in the 90s, all those producers ran together, and that's why a lot of people didn't use the same samples. And a lot of times because this is your crew. And if Diamond hears that, Evil and Walt just looped up just the two of us, it's going to be like, nigga, this is what we do. What, you want to be a track masters now, nigga? You know what I mean? Right. So it was like, nigga, if you want to use that, you're going to have to do that yourself. And that's how Still produced that joint. Because I remember getting a 12-inch and being like, produced by Still. Like, yeah, I still producing this. But so crazy story with that. But what is y'all favorite video out of the Boot Camp Click? I got to go with How Many MCs, vague, kind of like everything we talked about. It was just, that was just the hood to me. Like that reminded me of just being around the way, going into projects and everything like that. It was just crazy. Like you said, Evil D on the goddamn wall. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, yo, I ain't never seen nothing like that. You know what I mean? Now, looking back at it now, it may seem corny, but the first time we saw that video, niggas was like, yo, you see this nigga on the wall? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was crazy. Vague, what about you? What's your favorite video out the clip?
Operation Lockdown. I did not expect, when I saw that, because we had, you saw the type of videos we got from them, right? It was usually, the fits and we in the hood and, the crew is around. They got the Native American paint on, and I love the way, like, the camera's panning when he's like, it went down like this.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the presence of that video was like, oh, we stepping it up to another level. We not just staying down here with the typical videos. I just loved it. You know what it is? It's kind of like, if I didn't hear that song, it would make me pay attention to the lyrics. Because it was just like, yo, what is this? You know what I'm saying? They around a fire and Buckshot got the paint on. Like, it looked like they didn't look out of, I don't know, they didn't look out of character with it on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it almost fit their facial features to have all of that on. And back then in the 90s, we think everything is super deep. So we like, yo, so maybe he from that tribe. And, that's why, comments to... but yeah, I just remember being impressed by that, and it got me so hyped for the albums.
Yeah, no doubt. Ak, what about you? What's your favorite video out the clip, man?
I mean, it's the same, man. It's Operation Lockdown, and the thing is, I think I either heard in a video or I read or something. I don't think they liked that version with because I think there's two different versions of that video. There's like the regular one that like we used to, but then they did that, and I'm glad that that's the one that they did. That's what stood out, and like you said, it's majestic. Everything about it, it's the beat, the delivery, how it was shot, the transitions, people fading in and coming from out the background. It's like, it's crazy, so Operation Lockdown for sure.
All right. So what about you?
Man, I've been contemplating because I like probably 2 or 3 of them almost the exact same, man, but I'm gonna go back with Who Got the Props, man. That's probably my favorite one. Like I said, that's young Buckshot with the book bag on, man. He kind of just energetic, man. I like the vibe of the video, man. So that's probably my favorite one.
All right.
Was that the first instance of, like, remember when the Roots made fun of it, like the niggas running in videos? I feel like it was the time when we saw that happen.
Right.
Either them or Mobb Deep running and shit. I don't know.
Right.
I thought it was Mobb Deep that they was.
Who knows?
And here's another piece a lot of people don't talk about. Havoc is on that Into the Stage album on
Absolutely.
the Man Posse cut. A lot of people don't know that Havoc was on the Black. I told my young boy that. He was like, half of Mobb Deep, like, oh, that's great. Because it was like, it's what we always did in hip hop, Kane or G rap. And around that time, it was like Smith and Wesson or Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? And one of my boys was like, oh, they got beef. I'm like, yo, Hav is on the joint. He was on Into the Stage. So, you know what I mean? If there was beef, it was after that because dudes was cool or whatever like that. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. And we're going to get into this where we talk about what happened, because I had another name for it, but I feel like the other name can sound disrespectful, and I don't want to say that, so we just gonna call this part of the segment, what happened. But before we get there, who do you think was the dopest MC? Not your favorite, but who do you think was the dopest MC out of the clique? For me, I'm going with Buck, because I loved both styles that Buck did. I loved the how many MCs. I love the Who Got the Props, Act Like You Wanted, You the Man. I love that Buckshot. You know what I'm saying? But then I also love when he was able to flip the style. And I mean, I think Buck, I was like, yo, that's the motherfucking nigga right there when I heard Crooklyn. When he did Crooklyn, I was like, that's it. That was his stamp right there. I was like, okay, hands down, Buck, you one of the illest, my nigga. Like, that was like the official stamp of like, yeah, okay, I see you, fam. Like, you out there. I'm feeling another part of reality. Hit me when I represent the FAP. Like, I was like, I give up. I quit. You win, nigga. You win. You won. You know what I mean? Like, what Kevin Hart was saying, like, nigga, stop working out. You breaking the headphones at T-Mobile. You won. Get out the gym, nigga. You won. It was like, Buck, just you won, nigga. You got it. So to me, it was Buck. And then as a slept-on MC out the crew, I'm going Strang Wonder, man. I thought Strang was bananas. Hurricane Strang on that The Storm album, man. I loved Strang. So how many MCs gonna die? It's off like the 4th of July. Oh man, I thought Strang was so dope, man. So
it was dope. Yeah.
What about you? Who is the dopest MC out the crew, and who's a slept-on MC out the crew?
Damn. I'll go with Slept On first. Yeah, I think the most slept on is Steel. And I think his technical, how he approaches the flow, and he just like, he is sharp, technically sharp, so I think he's the most slept on. The dopest, it's between Sean and Buck. I want to say Buckshot because Buckshot is more versatile, but Sean, I could just think of lines like, from Sean. Yeah, so I got difficulty with the best one. But I can, say it with my chest as far as the most slept on, I would say is Steel.
All right, no doubt. Vague, who you got? Best on and slept on?
I gotta agree with you. It's Buckshot for me because, like he continued to impress. Like you said, like you were already locked in. When you heard Buckshot Shorty, you know what I'm saying. And again, Powerful Impact is more Buckshot Shorty. So I was loving those records. But then when you get to How Many MCs and Buck 'Em Down remix, and you know, like you said, Crooklyn and all that, he was like clearly the leader of the crew lyrically. You know what I'm saying? He was clearly like, this dude is the nicest. And I think it had a lot more to do, less to do with like just technique and more to do with presence. Because Buckshot, like he commanded the track. I wait for his bars on Crooklyn Dodgers because it's kind of like it's the best part. And Master Ace killed it too. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Whatever. Slept on. He wasn't slept on once upon a time, but I think because Sean Price kind of rose up and he went left and people forgot about him, I'm gonna go with Ruck. Like he had that present. He had a voice you ain't really hear like that in hip hop.
I'm talking rock.
Rock. That's what I'm gonna say. Rockness Monster. I felt like he just had a certain presence, but even technically, like he's precise the way he puts his words. Like we said, it went down like this. One snuck in the door, blah blah. Like he's a spitter. You know what I'm saying? And on that Rockness AP joint, it ain't go nowhere. Cause I was like, oh, he's still dumb nice. Like face, right. So I kind of feel like even the single he got out now, I was like, damn, this thing is all nostalgia for me. Because this dude is just good. He's naturally good, like naturally talented. So when you hear him on, like I said, on Heads Ain't Ready remix, he's like the Buster in the crew. His voice already commands attention. And then, you know, what he has to say is just always dope. So yeah, I would go with Rock as my slept on.
All right. And Tone, what about you, fam?
This tough, man. I'm gonna go with Sean Price as the best overall on CD because to me, Sean Price, I equate Boot Camp and Wu-Tang, and Sean Price is Ghostface Killer. Like whenever Boot Camp start kind of sizzling fizzing out a little bit, Sean Price started with them damn solo albums. You know what I'm saying? And his solo work and features and stuff like that. Same way Ghostface did. Nobody thought Ghostface was gonna be the one for Wu-Tang. They thought it was gonna be Method Man. And then at some point, maybe they thought it was going to be ODB or Ray or whatever. Nah, it was fucking Ghostface saved the Wu-Tang with Supreme Clientele. You know what I'm saying? So, Sean Price kind of kept the Boot Camp alive.
No, not kinda.
He did.
He kept them alive. He kept them alive with a bunch of dope albums, a bunch of dope songs, never sounded whack on the mic. You know what I'm saying? That's how he created this cult follower, man, that still stands today, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say Sean Price, even though I got a lot of affinity for Buckshot, man. Love everything about Buckshot starting out, man. Still like Buckshot a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? I still listen to their last album that came out. As far as like slept on, man, to vague point, Rock, man. Rock presence on the mic is powerful. First of all, he has one of the strongest voices in hip-hop history. I mean, when he grabbed the mic, when he started rhyming, it's Rock. You know what I'm saying? To vague point again, technically, the nigga just a dope rapper.
Yeah.
He can just rap, you know what I'm saying? Like he never sound whack on the mic. Every verse sounds sharp and crisp on the Helter Skelter albums, on his solo joint, any feature he's on. He just sounds good rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's always in pocket, man, regardless of the production. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude is a slept on MC, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like him a lot, man. I was listening to Nocturnal today, and I was like, damn, these dudes correct, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at that time, I didn't know which one I liked the best between Ruck and Rock. When they Skelter debut album, I'm like, toss the quarter up, dog. Which one you want? And they was on the same level to me at that time. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that Sean ever left him, but Sean ended up having more work, so it was more to judge and base it on because the body of work was he just left everybody solo wise. Talking Sean Price.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's funny, man, when you talk about Soundboy Burial originally, that beat was for Helter Skelter.
Ooh, they would have murdered that too.
And they didn't want it. And Tech still heard and was like, you don't want that? Oh, get that to us. Like, we'll take that in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? So it's just incredible to hear how like some of these things could have went different ways, because it was like, nah, we don't like that shit at all. You know, and then somebody else here and snatch it, you know, right up and make, you know, one of the dopest songs. We a couple of times have shouted out Soundboy Burial. You know what I mean?
One of the best songs, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
So just
One of the top 5 songs.
yeah, of what somebody can do with something. So yo, we to salute these wonderful people again. I want to let people know we're saluting them, but we always have to talk about what happened. You know what I mean? So in this case of what happened was, in my opinion, to me, it was that For the People album in 1997. To me, that is when it started to, that's when the plane started coming for a landing for me with Boot Camp Clip. Because, again, I was like, while everybody else loved the war, I was like, Boot Camp, Boot Camp, Boot Camp. Wait till they drop their Posse album. Because that's, for people watching, again, remember, we got Wu-Tang 36 Chambers first. So we got the Wu-Tang we got the Wu-Tang album first, then we got the solo albums. Boot Camp is the exact opposite. You got all the solo albums, and we were waiting for, where's the Boot Camp Click album? Bro, when I put that in, this is literally one of the most disappointing albums I've ever heard in my life. Not just hip hop. I'm talking of any genre of music.
Let me ask you a question,
Putting in
Q.
an album. Yo,
Because they're your favorite crew, your expectations on 10 also at the time, right before you heard it.
it was that, but the most important thing was the production. To me, Boot Camp had a sound. You know what I mean? It's similar to the Funk Brothers with Motown. There was a Motown sound that we loved. And when Motown got up and left, you know, Detroit and moved to LA, that sound changed.
Yep.
And Motown to me was never the same again. Not saying they didn't put out good music, but for me, that's what happened with the Boot Camp Click for me. Because there was a beat minor sound that came with them that left. For instance, you were talking about Monumental. I think it's a great album, but the Pete Rock sound to me doesn't fit the Smith & Wesson sound to me. You know what I mean? Another example, Camp Low, we all know Uptown Saturday Night was Ski. When Camp Low did 80 Blocks from Tiffany with Pete Rock, to me that sound fits together because Pete Rock's sound is very similar to Ski style. You know what I mean? Whereas Pete Rock's sound doesn't sound anything like the beat minor sound. You know what I mean? So again, this is just me. This is just my expectations because I know a lot of other people who swear by these albums. You know what I mean? But for me, the sound was never the same. I mean, the Boot Camp gave us the chosen few. That's ALC, Baby Paul, Bink, High Tech. The beat minors even had 3 on it, but I ain't love the album. It wasn't bad, but I didn't love it. The Last Stand had Ninth, Illmind, Marco Polo, Pete Rock, Lord Professor. The beat, it just felt like by the 2000s, it just didn't feel the same. You know what I mean? For me, just for me. And to me, that's why when Sean P came back, it was like, oh shit, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. Similar to what you said, Tone, like people heard you heard Immobilarity, you heard, you know, Meth second album, you heard, you know, Dirty second album. But when you heard Supreme Clientele, it was like, here we go. Now we're back. Now we're back in the saddle. Like, you know, to me, if they didn't start to fall off, we want to love Sean P so much. Because they'd be like, oh, this is the regular shit. This sounds just like all the other great shit that they was putting out. But it was because they were putting out okay stuff. It wasn't whack, but it wasn't The Shining. The Rude Awakening, same thing. The only 2 songs I liked on that was Bucktown, USA, and the joint with Tony Touch and God Bless the Dead, Hurricane G. Because that was the beat miners. That was the sound that I was looking for from them. Right. And I think the thing about the BCC is to me, they work best with one producer. You know, so like I said, these chosen few, you got an LALC, a Baby Paul, Bink. They just need to get with one crew, get their sound, and kind of bounce back. But that was for me. So for me, that's what happened was the beat miners leaving. And to be honest, the beat miners started to not be able to they weren't banging on all cylinders either. You know what I mean? So it's not like, because the last Black Moon album was the Rise of the Moon, and the single for that was crazy. I forgot the name of it, but I was like,
Creep with me.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was. It was I'll look it up. But
one of the singles,
the single was fucking crazy, and I was like, this shit might be crazy, and it wasn't. It wasn't. You know what I mean? Again, this is your first time really rocking with us on the show, but I'm always like, there's a difference to me between being hyped for an album and saying I'll listen to an album. You know what I'm saying? When the BCC was at their height, no, nigga, I was not. I'll listen to Smith and Wesson when they drop their solo album. No, nigga, I was hyped. When is it coming out? I can't fucking wait. I'm at the record store the night of. You know what I mean? That's different than I'll listen to it. You know what I mean? So for me, that's what it was. So what about you? What do you think happened, if anything, with the boot camp clip?
Well, first thing, because again, we talked about how we kind of compare BCC and Wu-Tang. The BCC album should have been the first album. I know it didn't happen that way, but when you get a conglomerate's first album, everyone is at their hungriest. So the beat miners gonna have their grimiest beats. All the MCs just getting put on. We know we got to damn do this shit. It's like protect your neck. It's all or nothing. Protect your neck gotta work. And then then Method Man, then Cream, then Can It Be So Simple, whatever. The Boot Camp Click needed that album to be the first thing they dropped, and then the jump off album after the group joint would have been End of the Stage, then The Shine, then Nocturnal. And now you're looking at this whole trajectory. It turned out to be like Wu-Tang. So now by the time their version of Forever come out, they rocking. Instead, as opposed to the Chosen Few's their second one, you see like leave a lot to be desired. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if their group album would have been first, you know what I'm saying, it would have popped off a lot better. Because sometimes after several, solo projects or group projects that they had, when I say group, I mean like OGC and Helter Skelter and Deshaun, I mean Smith and Wesson, everybody in their own now. They in their own groove. And it's kind of hard to bring that back together that far in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Wu-Tang did it with Forever to me, but kind of after that, they kind of got scattered all over the place. You know what I'm saying? RZA couldn't control them niggas. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the beat miners probably couldn't keep all them niggas in the same room. You know what I'm saying? So outside of that, I would say production, man. I still think if you listen to a lot of boot camp group albums and some of the other projects, I think the Robin was still good. But like you said, I think the beat miners, they used a lot of their best. I mean, they made a lot of great albums. How many times can you knock it out the park? At some point, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna slow down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what happened. I just think they gave you years of amazing beats, and at some point they just didn't have nothing left.
Yeah. And I think it's hard because, like you said, Wu was such a difference. Like, they were such an anomaly in hip hop that they did come out as a crew. Because when we look at all the other crews, it just starts with a group. Native Tongue started with the Jungle Brothers, and then it was like, oh, well, here's Tribe, here's De La. Flavor Unit starts with Latif. Okay, here's Chill Rob. You know what I'm saying? Like, they all grew into that. Where it's like you said with Wu-Tang, they just came out from the door with the group album. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we never got the Native Tongue album. I mean, we got that roll with the Flavor album with the Flavor Unit, but most of the crews that we love, we never got that album. True. Outside of, like you said, with Wu, they came different. That's what was so crazy about Wu, because all the other people kind of ramped up to becoming a crew, and then like the Flip and everything like that. And then too, something about that Cocoa Brothers name, like when they stopped being Smith and Wesson, like when they became the Cocoa Brothers. I mean, I know somebody out there like, come on, kill the name. I'm like, yo, the Cocoa Brothers. When I see that, I was like, like
that was some legal shit they was going through, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the legal shit. But Veg, I think you said too, like Cocoa Bread. Like we at the patty spot. You the Cocoa Bread Brothers. Like
I just got hungry. It's like our new name. I'm like, yo, I'm about to go get one.
Yeah, like, yo, we got to come up with a better name than Cocoa Brothers, man. So, I mean, that in that year, but we talked about this on one of our episodes, that 98 year, hip-hop was just in flux, because that was one of those years where I was very disappointed. I was living in Atlanta. I no longer am at strictly hip-hop, so I'm not getting free music. I'm having to pay for my music. And when I paid for the Rude Awakening, nigga, I can't tell you how bad I wanted my fucking money back. When I paid for Mike Geronimo's Vendetta, off of Natural, I wanted my money back. Buying Jay-Z's second album. I mean, it's a half and half album. Half the album I loved, half the album I hated. But it was like, nigga, what is going on in 98? Like, yo, where's the follow-up to motherfucking Master IC? Where's the follow-up to fucking Bucktown? Like, what's up? But that's what it was for me. Veg, what about you? What do you think happened with the boot camp clip?
I agree. I think it started with the For the People joint, because, like, if you like all these albums that came prior to that, And now they finally putting out the group album. You like, this is the Avengers. This is Avengers coming together. Like, it's gonna be crazy. And I just remember I never owned that album. Like, I own it now, but back then I didn't buy it because I couldn't believe that it was so different. And I think because the music was so different, the lyrics was different, the approach was different, and it wasn't. I didn't think they were like so stuck or married to a sound that I wouldn't like what they were rhyming about, but it was like that sound just fit them so well, their voices, their flows, everything. And even like with, you know, The Shining, which I played to death, you know, that smells like Timbs and hoodies, and this new joint was like, it felt like it was, those beats were for somebody else. So it was that, but also because Biggie's my favorite rapper, I was in the zero, no fly zone when you talking about Big, especially back then. So J. Rule, De La, all y'all, like I was just like, I'm not listening to niggas, and I was fans. But I just remember like it felt like I know one thing, I read an article back then, and it's similar to what De La did with the whole Daisy Age thing. They just didn't like being shoehorned into, y'all backpack rappers. Yeah. Y'all underground dudes. That's what y'all do that. And they wanted to do something different, but I think it was to their detriment because that's why we loved it. You know what I'm saying? So it just was the attitude switch, and again, then it got splintered a little bit. But I will say this, I think not as a slept on, well, I guess it's kind of a slept on, but Sean Price was, you know, doing a lot for boot camp, but so was Buckshot, because that series of mixtapes with Ninth Wonder, like that laboratory joint, I felt like he was back when I heard those. Because, you know, them albums,
he did like 3 or 4 albums, The Formula, all that.
Yeah, like those joints was alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, Kill, it was the split with beat miners, and you know, hip hop changed so much in between that time. By the time it was like 98, it's like, we listen to DMX, he got 2 albums out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and Pun is here. Like,
that's a good point, Bag, because the timing too. To your question, Kid, what Bag is perfect. Timing is everything, because you really, most times, everyone has a window, right? You excel in that window. Yeah, you got them anomalies that somebody like Scarface who made good music forever, or just certain people like that. But most times you got your window. And like you said, when DMX started, your album came out 97, 98. Once X came,
that was it.
And then Pun, Norris solo album, all of this shit like that. Like, yeah, the window was, the door is closed.
Like it was almost like a new wave. You know what I'm saying? You were kind of like, oh yeah,
Black Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and you in that For the People album, like, yo, I think if that album would have been crazy, they like buys you more time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have been crazy.
When you have a dope ass album, it buys you more time. It buys more time. You people, your name is still in people's mouths. You know, people haven't forgotten about you, but what do you bounce back with For the People? After that, what you coming with? The Rude Awakening? Nigga, that ain't helping. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you threw up a dud. We'll give you another chance. Oh, shit, another dud? Like, and now you start, now your name's not being mentioned no more.
Hey, Kid, what KRS Return to Blue Belt? Out of here.
Yeah, out of here.
Now you out of here.
I mean, that's because you think about it. If that For the People was what we expected it to be, and Smith & Wesson followed up The Shining, the way Mobb Deep followed up the Infamous with Hell on Earth, nigga, we're still talking. That's how Mobb Deep kept their names out there. So even though X came and Pun came and all these people were coming, that's cool, because we over here, we got the Infamous, oh, y'all can't top that. Oh, well, here's fucking Hell on Earth. It's like, oh, shit.
Right.
And then he gonna murder music in the damn choir store.
Right. And it's like, yo, these niggas ain't fucking around. So it don't matter how old you are. It's like, you just got to keep making dope music. And okay, you put up a dud, we give you the pass. But then it's like, here you come again, and y'all trying to make, and it may have been the gift and the curse. Still making that recognized beat, that remix. It's like, yo, I can make beats now. No, nigga, you can't. Okay? You know,
you said something real dope, man. Like, dope music give you time, dog. I think a lot of people don't understand that. And it's funny because I said something earlier today about, people was dissing J. Cole, and I was talking about J. Cole today on Twitter. I said, if his next album is amazing,
Yeah.
it will give him a little bit of leeway. Because dope music shows forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? It gives you time. And you say, man, he pissed me off, but damn, you hear that new fucking album? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it gives you time, man. So that's a just dope point, man, you made.
Yeah. You gonna say something, babe?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like the Havoc thing, like Havoc kept the essence of Mobb Deep throughout the albums. He just improved upon it. So it was like if Shook Ones had a sinister vibe to it, so did like Godfather Part 3 and records like that. So it still felt like Mobb Deep.
And the Alchemist didn't try to change their sound whenever he came and incorporated some music with them.
Right.
He didn't change the Mobb Deep sound.
De La is another prime example, right? Like a lot of people, including myself, kind of slept on the Blue Mind State. But when I look at when it was released, next to Midnight Marauders and Doggy Style and Into the 36, but then they came right back with Stakes is High. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, De La is still dope. It buys them time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's all it is. And that For the People album, again, and you're following that up with the Rude Awakening. It's like, oh yeah, like now we checking out because now we in the Jay-Z. Like you said, like the other people who are coming into play are we kind of getting tired of y'all, and you threw up 2 duds. And like, I know some people like the second Helter Skelter album. I mean, I thought it was cool, but again, nothing is to the level of what you dropped. Nothing is to the level of Nocturnal. Yeah, Magnum Force. Nothing is to the level of.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but like you said, to your point, it was like basketball. If y'all scoring 15 in the game, X just dropped 45.
Right.
Dropped 38.
Yeah, I gotta jump in here with some pushback. I gotta jump in.
Please do. Please do.
Because I like the Rude Awakening. for the people, I get it. I definitely understand. As far as the build up and expectations, I definitely understand where you all are coming from. I didn't think it was like, oh man, like they done. I didn't think that, because I remember being excited for it. I remember listening to it like, oh, it's all right, but I don't, that I didn't have the same feeling that I had when listening to Woo Forever. Like, yo, I want to hear that joint again, or I want to hear this joint again. I didn't have that for the people, but it's like, all right, it's cool. I'll play it again at some point. And then with the Rude Awakening, yeah, like that's what I was saying. One of my favorite joints, 101. I think from listening and gathering the data from listening to y'all, it sound like, and Kill, you mentioned it earlier, what was missing within the boot camp that time was like some type of executive producer or somebody to kind of rein it in and say, hey, this is, we don't want to abandon and get away from what made us, what people like us for. I think, like you all mentioned, that 98, things were in flux. So I think boot camp was trying to find its footing. I remember the I guess the freestyles or what they were doing with Funk Flex. Like, I like them joints. I like what Buckshot did with the I Ain't No Joke, the Follow Me. Like, I like those. Yeah. But I think a lot of folks ain't like it. Like, they thought those joints was whack, and I'm like, damn, So yes, like you said, Kill, what happened? Yeah, right around that time, I think the footing got lost, and I'm just gonna address it. To me, the elephant in the room, the violence happened too. With Starang and with Strang and
right.
Yeah, so that happened. So there was some stuff going on with that, and it's like, damn, like,
just say it,
and then Biggie's just on fire, and then the other thing, with hip hop, you got Biggie passing, Pop passing, and then you got the leaks from what Boot Camp was doing with Pac. So it was like, I just look at Boot Camp during that time, like they were in flux. So it's like, what is your sound gonna be moving forward? Like, what are y'all? And then I remember the beginnings of the Sean Price, the emergence, the Grand Theft Auto, the Sean Price and the Aguilar. It's like, oh yo, that's that dude rough. Like, yo, that's hard. You know what I mean? That verse hard. So it's like, okay, he's still around. Right. And then I remember they had the single, the Solidify and the Don't Say Ish the Ruck. So it's like, okay, what's going on here? Like, but the Solidify was so hard and so dope. It's like, I don't know what's going on with the rest of the boot camp, but this dude right here, like, yo, he rhyming. And he like, it's just, I don't give a fuck attitude. Like, don't say shit to me. And then Solidify, he, you know what I mean? He's spitting. And just that consistency, I think it just built up to what we got with, the comeback with Monkey Bars. And then again, we can retell that story, Operation Lockdown. This time it was Ruck or Sean. And then I'm going to bring Buckshot. He got an album with Ninth Wonder. I'm going to bring Smith & Wesson. They got an album with Ninth Wonder, Reloaded. And I can tell y'all, like, I was at Strictly during that time, and I seen it. Like, I witnessed it with my own eyes. Like, all of them came up to the studio, and it was during that run when those 3 albums, and they were pushing those albums. And that night, they had a show, and I know we were saying Buckshot, but that night I seen the show, and yeah, Sean was the superstar. Sean was the man. Like, Buckshot went first. Buckshot, then Smith & Wesson, and then Sean. And when Sean walked on that stage, it was pandemonium. It's not like they didn't have love. They had love for everybody. You know what I mean? Let's not get it twisted. Like, everybody was enjoying all of the music. Everything was dope. But when it was like some Michael Jackson. This dude just walked up on the stage flexing and they was going nuts. And
the thing with that is that I feel like boot camp has had seasons. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a season of Martin. You know how, like, you get to the last season of Martin when Gina and Martin couldn't even be in the same scene and it was horrible. You know what I mean? So in that season, Ruck was the star. And I think Buck was good to be able to recognize that. Like, you gotta go on last. Niggas would have lost that. Niggas would have left if Ruck went on first and we had to wait to see Buck. Nigga, I ain't here to see Buck. I'm here to see Ruck. You know what I mean? So niggas understood that. I think the thing is too is, and again, I don't think, for me it was whack. If somebody says, For the People or, the Rude Awakening, I think the thing is that they put out 5 mic albums. You know what I mean? And like 3000 said, you're only as funky as your last cut. So the problem is it's hard to put out Enter the Stage. Like, for instance, Black Moon did Enter the Stage in 1993. Their follow-up was Warzone in 1999. That's 7 years.
What the hell? That's crazy.
That's 7 years. Now, again, I said something about this on Twitter, and Buck replied like, yo, don't forget, we was going through this contract with Nervous Records. Like, so I forgot about the contractual things, but they didn't even have a follow-up for what is that, 7 years, 6 years?
That's a
in the
bro.
90s, and then they came out with that whack-ass single, 2 turntables and a mic. Like, I like Warzone. Like, that's a slept-on album to me, too. For people watch, that's another slept-on album. I like the album, but too much time had gone by. So I think it's almost like I tell people, if you take your kid to go see Steph Curry, you want to see this nigga drop 40, right? You want to see this nigga shoot threes from all over the place. You don't want Steph to have no 12-point fucking 4 assists and 8 turnover night, because you expect higher from that dude. So even like you said, it was a cool album. I'll play it again about For the People. That's not how we felt about any of these albums, that came before it. Like, nigga, we playing Into the Stage, The Shining for an eternity. You know what I mean? And when you have that, it's like with Mobb Deep, like, and that's why I said to me, it was about the beat minus leaving because you lost your sound. Like Vague, you said about Havoc. He kept that menacing sound. It just grew. Right. You know, imagine if Havoc left Mobb Deep, you know, and it was now Mobb Deep is fucking Prodigy and fucking Big Noise. You know what I mean? Just shopping for beats. I could get 3 from Ninth Wonder. I could get 3 from Crisis. Not saying the beats ain't dope, but it ain't gonna sound like Mobb Deep.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you said, I think they were looking for a sound and never really found it. You know what I mean? Because that's why I was like naming these producers, the chosen few. You got ALC, Baby Paul, Bink, and High Tech. But then the last stand, you got Ninth, Illmind, Marco Polo, and Large Professor. You ain't even used none of the producers from the last album. And then the next album, you got Knots, Marco Polo, and you do keep Ninth from Marco Polo, but now you got Ninth, now you got some other dude, Dan the Man. So it felt like they're always fishing for like who can help us, who can. So like you said, and after a while, if you don't know what your sound is, 10 years in this game, nigga, you basically Zartan. You just a nigga for hire. Like you don't have a sound, and that to me is what Mobb Deep had. You know what I mean? So, and my man Nick always schools me. I like the Infamous, but he's like, for me, Murder, Hell on Earth, he was like, to me, that's a Mobb Deep album. There's no Q-Tip. There's none of that. It's all Havoc. You know what I mean? And Still Shining don't sound nothing like Shook Ones, but goddamn, it's Still Shining is fucking crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, which don't sound like nothing about Godfather Part 3, but it's crazy. And I think the beat miners, I don't know if they had that versatility to give you to, I don't know how you mature the beat minor sound.
Right.
Maybe they flamed out, like I was saying earlier. That's not a bad thing because at some point you kind of flame out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And they're given years of dope music, and maybe that's one of the reasons why the artists start reaching out to all these other producers, because maybe they didn't have the shit in the bag no more. Maybe they didn't have a vote of a lot of shit they hadn't used. I don't know.
From what I heard, there was a beef between the beat miners and Helter Skelter.
Oh, okay.
Like that's where the rift started. Like I think they said some disrespectful stuff about the beat miners, and feelings got in the way, and niggas kind of went different ways. And again, it's not just on the BCC, because again, it's not like the beat miners had their window. With Rod Digger Thick, they did some shit with Royal Flush. The beat miners had a run, but it kind of stopped. You know what I mean, Vague? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, back maybe 10 years ago, I produced a radio segment for WBGO, a show called The Checkout. I used to do this segment called Fusion on the Checkout, but it wasn't fusion in the sense of jazz only. But I did a segment on Blue Note Records and how they fed Q-Tip, Mr. Walt, Premier, and all of them by like clearing samples and encouraging the use of this this legendary jazz catalog. And I remember when I was doing some research, and I think I used it in the piece, but I found like some quotes from Mr. Walt about that time. And he talked about like how his production was one way, but he opened up a little bit more when he got into jazz and stuff like that. And I wondered, like, maybe it was just that period of them digging through jazz records and utilizing a specific sound from that time, even if it was soul, right? Even if it was like Roy Ayers or whatever. But then once they stepped out of that jazz realm, the beats didn't really hit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just became like anybody else. So I kind of felt like, maybe that's what happened to beat miners, because like even now, I get hyped when I see their name and they like, oh, we got a compilation, and then when I press play, I'm like, nah, that ain't it. If I'm looking for, that's not it.
And it's funny because I just pulled this one out, the Beat Miners Brace for Impact on Raw. To me, this is another slept on album. This was like their Soul Survivor, their first like compilation album.
Right.
They got a joint on here called Take That with motherfucking the flip mode. Oh my god, this shit is crazy. But like you said, Veg, I think over the summer this year they dropped the album. And it was cool. It was cool.
Right.
But I think like that's the problem. All these albums that we're naming, all these Smith and Wesson, they were cool. Nothing's whack. Anybody listening, I have not called anything whack, but
except for the people.
Yeah, For the People, that's trash. That's
For the
trash.
People, right.
Thank you for the correction. That was fucking trash. That is one of the most disappointing albums I've ever. And I'm glad I got it
For the People at all.
Nah, man, that was on some old. We ain't sampling. It wasn't no samples on there. It was like they was using keyboards. I'm like, oh, see now y'all. And like you said, you lost your sound. You know what I mean? A. Marie, that Rich Harrison sound. Some of A. Marie's albums without Rich Harrison, you see people trying to emulate Rich's sound. You see people trying to give them those meter drums, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna feed you what Rich was giving you. It's like with CL, he did an album, and it was like some of the Heat Makers was on it, and I'm like, Arsonist and CL Smooth don't even blend. Like, you know what I mean? So again, to your point, I think they've been looking for their sound for years.
So is it? I mean, is it Smith and Wesson and Buck? That's because I think Sean Price found the pocket.
I mean, with Sean
He did.
What Sean P did, and we talked about this on another show about why is it the people in the background who become the stars of the group. So we talked about Ruck, you know, we talked about Ghostface, and I recently brought up Freeway with State Prop. You would have thought Beans. You would have thought. I thought Petey Crack was going to be a star. I knew Petey Crack was going. You would have said Young Chris. You would have said Chick. I don't know any human being who would have been like, "Oh, Freeway is going to be the one."
No, not at the beginning. Not at the beginning. No,
you know, leading. But he is. But it's because he stayed with what he wanted to do. Free never tried to do. Like that last Beans album, The Solution, it was like produced by Dre and Vidal, and they were trying to get into some other stuff. And Freeway and Ghost just did what they wanted to do. And maybe it's because they had the freedom, because when nobody believes in you, Def Jam is telling probably making meth, yo, you need to do a song with D'Angelo. We need another Mary song. You the sex symbol. We need this type of song. Ain't nobody telling Ghost what to do. Ain't nobody telling Free what to do. And they just stayed with their crew. So Ruck never had to refine his. Right. So Ruck never had to refine his sound because he just stayed with what they was doing. You know what I mean? And on top of that, we said too that all three of those MCs we just named had their own style. Don't nobody rhyme like Ghostface. Don't nobody rhyme like Ruck. And don't nobody rhyme like Freeway. So not only do you have your own style that nobody else does, you also are staying with the music that we want from you. I want Jake One and Freeway. I wish Jake One would make an album with Beans. I mean, nigga, don't y'all know each other? Nigga, I just seen you, Free, and Beans sitting on the stoop in North Philly doing I Could Feel It in the Air. Beans, you ain't want to ask for Jake number? You know what I mean? So again, it's like I just feel like those MCs knew what they wanted to do and they stuck with it. You know, and that's why they stayed winning. You know, while everybody else's second album was falling off in the woo, you get Supreme Clientele, which to me, most people say is Ghost Dope album. And I know a lot of people who have that as a top 3 Wu-Tang album together with all the albums, including 36 and Forever.
Some people do that. It's legit.
Yeah. So I do think Ruck just stayed in his lane, but I don't know. Smith and Wesson's trying to find a new name. You know what I mean? We trying to, you know, they're searching for that sound, because if it worked well with Pete, why don't you go back to Pete for another album? And then the next album is they back with in North Carolina, you know, and then it's the next album are they in Atlanta, like, and maybe they want to keep doing that, you know what I mean? But you got to also understand, not too many people are talking about these. None of these Smith and Wesson albums are making nobody's album of the year. When we do top 5 of the year, none of these Smith and Wesson albums are making any of these lists.
And they got solo albums too that the people really don't touch them joints.
Right.
I looked and Steel has a lot. I don't know about Tech though. He might have just released one.
Yeah. And even the reggae album, I thought the reggae album was good. So again, it's nothing that's whack, but it's just like, that's good. You know, I was interested, like, yo, let me check this out. But it was like, again, I don't know how Mob did it. I don't know how Mob was able to keep that energy going from the Infamous to Hell on Earth to Murder Music. I don't know. You know what I mean?
You know what's weird about it? Like when you're talking about Smith and Wesson and like The Shining is such a, to use the young kids' term, such a vibe. with that album, but still felt like it was connected to Into the Stage and
that's true.
Lockdown. That it's almost as if they don't know what we hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah.
Right.
Or Ruck knew, right? Sean Price definitely knew. But I kind of feel like I get them wanting to explore as artists, but I think in a lot of ways, I don't know if they care what we say or not, but that's the thing. Like when you put the Shining on, it's a certain sound, it's a certain vibe. It, like Kill said, you feel like, yo, you only listen to this shit in the winter.
Yeah, in the wintertime.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't even it don't even feel right listening to that shit on a 90-degree sunny day. Like it don't even fit the vibe. But once it goes under 60, nigga, I'm pulling that thing out. You know what I mean?
And Into the Stage feel the same way. I mean, but them two together could have been a double CD. I mean, as far as the vibe, you know what I'm saying? B-Minor still had that sound. They carried for a couple of years.
And I feel like it's almost like me and my man White, shout out to my man White from TTC, we used to catch a train into DC together. And one time we were having a conversation, and people will laugh at these conversations now, but one time of point, these were some serious ass conversations. Who's better, CP3 or Deron Williams? Now that shit sound crazy right now, but for a moment in time, that was a legit ass conversation.
Yeah, the Deron.
Yeah. Okay. Another conversation. Who's better, Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant? This was a legit conversation.
Absolutely.
So for people who are younger, they're gonna be like, "The fuck, Kobe?" No, there was a point in time when you could debate who was better, Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant. Sounds crazy now. Same thing. There was a moment in time when you could debate who was better, Smith and Wesson or Mobb Deep.
Yeah.
Around the Shining.
You could. Exactly. Around the Shining and the Infamous. And Mobb Deep left them niggas in the dust. So again, even though you had new people coming out, Mob knew their sound and they just knew how to expand on that shit. And to me, that's just where, I mean, and again, Prodigy, I think Prodigy is a
that's what I'm about to say.
So we can't leave that out too.
Prodigy was such a unique MC, man.
He's a very unique MC, but even with the Infamous and the Shine, it still was a legit argument. Now again, looking back at this 30 years later, nigga, come on, Mobb Deep. What are we talking about? But at that time, it was a legit conversation. It was a legit debate on who is better. You know, but again, it's just like when you know who you are, when you know your sound, and you're able. Because even the Mobb Deep albums that a lot of people don't love, I still know people who like the G Unit Mobb Deep album.
But by Hell on Earth, there was no competition, though. I mean, the Shining.
By that time,
but by Prodigy on Hell on Earth, it's like they out of here now. It's too late.
Right, and it's beat wise, because they knew their sound. You know, Quiet Storm to me don't sound not like Shook Ones, but they both anthems. You know what I mean? And that, so it really to me comes down to that sound. You know, but regardless of what had happened, at a time and point, to me, BCC was the dopest. Now, here's the question. Are they a top 5 hip-hop crew ever? For me, yes. I don't know where they rank, but for me, out of the Native Tongues and the Wu-Tangs and the Flavor Units and the State Properties and the Rock, La Familia, whatever Jay-Z called his crew, I think that they're a top 5 crew. I don't know where I put them, but for me, they're a top 5 hip-hop crew. Tone, what about you? Is the BCC a top 5 hip-hop crew?
Man, when you think about them first 4 albums from BCC, you compare them to a lot of the albums and then Sean Price run and all that, I think you got to consider them top 5, man, because again, you got those legendary albums jumping off of then Sean Price career. But it's all, because you're looking at the Juice Crew, you're looking at the not just the Flavor, what's the EPMD them crew, the Hip Squad, Def Squad, all them, and Wu-Tang and Native Tongues. And, if you look at the Native Tongues as a conglomerate, you get the De La Soul Tribe albums. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean,
that's a heavy run.
Man. It's
like
that's real heavy.
Like I was saying, when you think about these crews that we're naming, did we ever get the Hit Squad album? Nah. Did we ever get the Native Tongue album? Nah. Did we ever get the Juice Crew album? I mean, I guess if you want to call Marley's in Control a Juice Crew album.
No, I guess I was looking at all of their work under that.
No. I agree with what you're saying, but I was just saying, to go back to what we was talking about for the People album, that a lot of these hip hop crews, Wu was so different because we did get that. We got that first.
Yeah.
Whereas all the rest of these crews, the Hit Squad broke up before we could get that album.
Bro,
You
so
know
if
what
you're
I mean?
looking at like, if we're looking at crews where there were actual group albums released in it, then
No.
BCC did.
Right. No, I was just saying in general. Like,
No, I know, but I'm saying, but that is two different things. So we're talking about, crews, and there were several group albums with crew albums or whatever. Then yes, Boot Camp is definitely in there because you got DITC, for example. They only have like maybe one album, so that you can't put them above BCC. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say the top 5 if we're looking at who dropped crew albums, not just crews. But then we're talking about Native Tongues and all these guys, and Organized Noah's group, crew and all that. So yeah,
All right.
So,
Greg, what about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Nah, man, I can't put them in front of Juice Crew, Native Tongue. It's just they got too much ammo. Like EPMD alone got like 4 straight joints. Then you start adding Redman and everybody else. I think they right outside of it, maybe like 6. Because the more, and I'm just thinking about crews because, we talk about that for the people, shit, they don't have a group album. Well, they had it later, but at least initially, and some of those were hit or miss, but at least, they had better group albums later on. And the Wu had worse group albums later on, which I think a lot of people don't want to admit. They really only stopped at it forever, but it's tough. Because I love everything they did around that time. It was so dope and exciting. But when I'm mentioning like some of the greatest albums of all time, obviously Into the Stage and The Shining get mentioned, but I'm always talking Cuban Links and 36 Chambers and Midnight Marauders. Even if you look at the Death Row crew, like they had a run. Dr. Dre and it's just.
So we consider the Dungeon Family that too, or we consider Dungeon Family with Outkast, Good and Mob.
I would.
We start doing that. That's tough.
Anybody who has 3 or more groups within. So you had Outkast, you had Goody Mob, you had Witch Doctor, you had Cool Breeze. So to me, I define a crew. If there are 3 or more people who have out solo albums, that's a crew. Hit Squad is a crew because you had EPMD, Redman, Das EFX, and K Sola.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Death Row is a crew because you had Snoop, you had the Dog Pound, you got Rage, even if they in RBX, like you had. So to me, it's the minimum is 3 people. Native Tongues, crew, De La Tribe, Jungle, Black Sheep, so yeah, and it would be hard. To me, it's no knock if they don't get in because we're naming some powerhouses here. It's not
Juice
like
Crew.
Juice Crew will be a crew because you got Kane, G-Rap, Biz, Ace, Shan, Shantae, so yeah.
That's what I find difficult about it, right? Because like as much as I love the Boot Camp, when I'm like, do I put them ahead of these people in the more?
It's a whole new show, Kill. That could be a damn show.
We got to rank some shows. All right, well we'll save that for that. But before we save it for the next show, do you think they're top 5 with all the crews we just named? It looks like it's gonna be a no.
It's rough, man. But if I'm thinking about what I have here, like if I'm gonna go play something right now, they probably would be. Okay. If I think about my life, I probably have listened to them more than some of the crews that y'all mentioned. I've definitely listened to them more than the Juice Crew. So for me, personally, they probably are top 5. I wanted to do this too before we.
Digging in.
I did have it sitting here the whole time, because Vegas was.
Hey, my shit in there 6 feet deep.
Yeah, so I wanted to drop, one. I got one Vegas. I got one.
I think. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if I just think, personally and my life overall, it's probably they're probably in the top 5. Yeah.
All right. No doubt. And I think the dope thing about the Boot Camp is because they have those classic albums, they can always tour forever. You know what I mean? There's never a time when You know, if Tech and Still are in DC, I definitely want to go because I know I'm gonna hear Bucktown. I know I'm gonna hear some of these joints, you know, that I love. And Trey was just on the show talking about how, like, yo, he got the theme. And it's like, yo, it's hard to get one of them songs that you can perform forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got to definitely salute them because, I mean, if Sean P was still alive and they decided we doing a boot camp tour, hey, I'm there. You know what I mean? Especially if they decide, hey, we doing nothing but these top 4 albums. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, nigga, I'm there. I may go to the DC show and the Baltimore show and fuck around and go to the Philly show too. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's hard to be able to get that. So definitely want to salute them brothers. You know, R.I.P. to Sean P. He was one of the few MCs from the 90s that was still rhyming that I was still hyped for. If you told me a Sean P album was coming, I'm up at midnight. There is no, I'll get to it one day. No, nigga, I'm getting to that tonight. When at 12, I'm at 11:59 on my Apple Music, hitting refresh. Like, okay, where's the album? So, definitely R.I.P. to Sean P. Happy 50th born day to Buck. Prayerfully gets better from that situation. And just shouts to the rest of them still doing their thing.
Yeah,
you know, like Tone, you saying Tech is still about to drop a new album. I didn't know that, so that's dope. Rock is still out here doing his thing, you know, so you know, definitely shout out to them. So, you know, everybody now, if you didn't know about the boot camp, you have enough homework, you got enough albums, we told you where to get started, we told you all these things. Tone, tell them all about you. Where can they get at you? Into the Dome. Are you on Blue Sky yet, brother?
On what?
On Blue Sky. Or have you moved over to the Blue Sky yet?
I have not.
Okay, you better go over there and get your name. You know why I joined? Because a lot of motherfuckers hate me on Twitter. And if I hated me the way people hate me, I would steal my name. Would you say?
Yeah. I need to do that then, man.
Yeah, just go grab your name. Even if you don't go, I'm like, let me get killed 889 because I know if I hated you, Tone, I'd be like, what's your name on Twitter? I'm doing that just to fuck up Tone. So your shit can't be the same across the board. So just go over there and just start an account just so nobody, you know, me and you are two most hated men on Twitter. So, you know.
I know, I get it. You know what I'm saying? We all, but yeah, it's just Into the Dome on Twitter, man, and the Dome podcast on YouTube. And, you know, the links, everything is on my Twitter, man, for the websites and all that stuff, man. So y'all know where I'm at, man. It's all good.
All right, no doubt. Ak, where can I get at you, good brother?
Hey, man, you know, I'm a dinosaur, man. I ain't got no blue skies and tweets and Twitters. And God damn, I mean.
But you know what you got, nigga? You got a movie on Amazon.
Oh, yeah, y'all can check that out. It's called Reyna, Reyna, you know what I'm saying? Movie, directed by me. You can check that out. And yeah, I'm on IG. That's at THATSAHK at that's you know what I'm saying? I'm on there. I don't know. I might have to do that Blue Sky thing. Like y'all said, just go ahead and claim the name. But you know, I don't be on these joints, man, these social medias and stuff, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's what it is. You know, I'm passing over to Vegas then, since you
gotta get on. You gotta get on, man. I tell people, if you out here with a product to sell, you sound like a drug dealer. Don't want to come outside, nigga. You gotta come on outside. You can't sell no crack in your house. You can't sell no crack in your house. You got a movie on Amazon, nigga. You better get out here on these streets and talk about that shit. You can't be in there talking about I'm a drug dealer looking out the window, nigga. No, you gotta be out here in the cold. You gotta be out here with the hoodie on, nigga. You gotta be on the block, man. You got
I got you open remix. Get out the you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta move some
steam in the background.
Yeah, I tell people, if you ain't doing shit, cool. But if you got anything you trying to sell, you want people to get your bit. You know, you an ill videographer, man. Yo, you gotta get out here on these street corners, man. You know what I mean? Get your corners, man. Come on, Avon, you from Baltimore, nigga? Come on, you gotta get out here. Vague, what's up with you? Where you at, man?
I'm on every block. I've been on Blue Sky since 2023.
Vague was the first person I knew on Twitter. I called him because I'm with you. I was like, fuck this social media shit. I was like, I don't want to be what I'm supposed to tell people where I'm at so you come rob my house. No, nigga. They talking to goddamn strangers. Then that MOP thing happened and niggas was like, yo, where can we hear more of your beats? I was like, oh, damn, I guess I got to get on social media. And that was 2011. And it's like, so I'm with you. I didn't want to do it either. I was like, this shit whack. You know, meeting strangers, talking to strangers. But when that MOP thing happened and niggas was like, yo, we want to hear more beats. I was like, oh shit, I I guess I better get a Twitter. I guess I better get an Instagram. You know, so that's why I'm just always saying, like, if you got something you trying to sell, you got a service, no, you know, you got to be out here. And Vegas, the one who schooled me, I was like, Veg, I know you don't remember, but you retweeted Fab talking about he got in a car accident. And I hit you immediately, like, yo, you good? You was in a car accident? You was like, nah, nigga, I'm retweeting with somebody else. I was like, well, I don't know, nigga. I don't know how this shit work. I thought you was in a car accident. You know, Veg is like the technology person. When I first got an iPad, I was like, Veg, how these shits work? Like, Veg is always like my IT person. Like school me, man. So I'm with you, Rock. I'm Fred Flintstone right along with you.
Yeah, I just love the business of technology. So I follow it. You know, I watch Bloomberg and I follow a couple of like the tech reviewers and stuff like that. So a lot of these social media sites, including Instagram. I was on Instagram when it was about taking photos. Like that's, you know, when it was the rival. Forget about that. Right. It was the rival to Flickster or whatever. What was that joint called? Something like that. Flickr. Yeah, it was basically the rival to that. But it was more so about, you know, places where I could promote my stuff, because I'm like, well, people on Facebook might not be on Twitter. People on Twitter might not be on Instagram. So I just try to look and see what the difference is and try to move and set up. And with Blue Sky, I knew eventually it would get a little buzz because it was so much like older Twitter. But it was an invite only kind of thing. So I kind of just did whatever. Now it's just crazy. So my name is the same on everything. Vegas World INC, TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, all of that. I'm no longer on Twitter. I don't have no reason like, oh, Trump, like, I don't care, nigga. I never cared. Like, I just like the idea of controlling what's on my timeline, because I like sports and hip hop. That's all I want to see. I don't even care if it's hot takes on both. That's all I want to see. And once you lose that control, it's just annoying to me to have to like, oh, ad, you know, and oh, who's this person? So, but you know, same stuff. And you know, I'm doing well, actually, when you release this, the show this coming Friday will be about me and Ox album that we did called He Rhyme I Could Sing. Kill is the host. This is a collaborative thing. So on Black Friday, you know, you can spend all your goddamn money, or you've been knocked out because you're fighting over some bum ass TV that's gonna break anyway. Sit down and watch us talk about this album. That was, you know, inspired a lot by, on my side, Ice Cube and his early albums and the storytelling and the humor and the realness and street knowledge. And on Oxide, like what Sir Jinx and the Bomb Squad was doing with the sounds, and kind of making one of those albums from back in the day where it felt like a journey as opposed to a collection of, you know, songs, which could be dope. But we come from eras where you could put that joint on, like The Shining, and just let that joint ride. And, you know, it's ingrained in your soul when you walk away. So we just talk about the making of that, and the fact that it will be available on digital streaming platforms this coming Black Friday. So,
word, sir. That's what it is. I'm looking forward to that joint. Very dope album. And again, after you check it out on digital streaming platforms, don't forget VegasWorldInc.bandcamp.com. Buy it. That is where artists get the most money. So definitely, if you rock with it, definitely go over there and support that. Kill889, Twitter, IG. You already know what it is. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.
Brooklyn, what up?